What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the physique update of James Hollingshead. So do not sleep on James, as he is putting a lot of work in silence. And he is in the high 290s right now, and that too with a great off-season body composition. So James received a lot of pushback after he posted his current gear and PED cycle. Because the thing is, people weren't willing to believe that this is the IFB Pro who just placed top 5 at this year's Arnold Classic. And he's only using this much gear. And we know how the internet is. Most people want to believe that all of these big guys, they're running over 2 grams of gear per week to look like that. And some of you might be right. Some of these guys must be running heavy dosages. But the thing is, it isn't always as much as people think it is. Because these guys have such a solid foundation. And same goes for James as well, who has all the size, all the mass that he needs. He has a very solid foundation. And this is a perfect scenario in which a guy is in that phase of his career where he can make great improvements by running very less amounts, while at the same time making sure that their health is intact. So the new density on James is looking absolutely crazy. He has been working with Stefan as his coach since the Arnold. So as of right now, no announcement has been made on what show he's gonna do next, whether he's gonna compete this year or not. So only time will tell. But the thing is, whenever he steps back on the stage next time, I think James will be at his all-time best. So James has done the Olympia twice in his career so far. And so far he has been able to make top 10 in the world. So let's see where this new version of James places in 2025. But first things first, he has to qualify for the Olympia first. Next up, we have an update from Good Vito, that guy who made his pro debut just this year at the Arnold Classic South America. And he was able to place a very respectable third. So Rafael Brandao was the one who won that show. Antonio Burton was able to place a very close second behind him. So Good Vito also placed a very close runner-up behind Martin Fitzwater at this year's Detroit Pro. So originally his plan was to make the much needed improvements, especially add some more thickness in the side, in his chest, and most importantly, more thickness and more density in his back. And he was planning to return to the stage this year and have another go at this year's Mr Olympia qualification. But with the way things are looking right now and the way all these upcoming shows are so damn stacked, it's gonna get harder and harder to get that Mr Olympia qualification for this year for Good Vito. So the guy is very young, he's only 26 years old, and he has all the time in the world. And although he has some great shots like the front double biceps, the abs and thigh the most muscular, because his quads are just enormous, and he has that amazing width as well. But he's still missing some density in certain areas, especially in comparison to the other top guys, other older guys. Because building up more density and more muscle maturity, that comes with time. So maybe what he can do is have another long off season, make some improvements, and return to the stage in 2025. And that I think will be a great scenario for him. So we saw that Vito has got the shape as well as the aesthetics, and he can get into that next level of conditioning as well. Because we just heard from the judges at the Arnold that he was the most conditioned guy up there. All he needs is to put in more time until he gets that muscle maturity and more size, especially in his upper half. And he is definitely gonna be among the up and coming bodybuilders who will be seen on the Olympia stage for many years to come. And I'm sure he is gonna be a force to be reckoned with in the future. I'm sure all of us are really interested in seeing how Big Ramy is looking right now. After all, he is a 2-time Mr Olympia champion. And if Ramy at this moment announces that he is of course going to do this upcoming Mr Olympia, which is happening in October, that will immediately become one of the biggest storylines going into this year's Mr Olympia. So regardless of where he places, the presence of Big Ramy in any kind of lineup, that is going to have a big impact. So a lot of Big Ramy fans 100% believe that he was unfairly treated at his last Mr Olympia, which was in 2022, where the judges placed him 5th. And more than that, I think majority of the bodybuilding community believes that he was unfairly judged at his last Arnold, which was in 2023. So I do not remember any Mr Olympia where the winning champion, especially in the men's open, placing so far down the ladder, especially in his title defense. So Dexter Jackson was placed 3rd in 2009. So what normally happens is that if the champion is unable to defend the title, more often than not, he places runner-up. Just look at Hardy last year, Brandon Carey in 2020 and 2021, Phil Heath in 2018, and Jay Cutler in 2011. But we saw something totally different with Big Ramy in 2022. But still, his placing at that show, that still made some sense. But at the Arnold 2023, Ramy came in much bigger, much improved, much more conditioned. And he also took care of some of his atrophies. For instance, his back was looking a lot better. And still they placed him fourth. So that must have been a really hard pill to swallow. And not just for him, his team as well. So the rumors of him working with Patrick Tour as his coach, they are also no more. They have died down. Because there hasn't been any talk about that for months. So we are right now at 11 weeks out, which is very little time to get ready for a big show like the Olympia, and also for a big guy like Big Ramy. So it will be a total shocker if he makes the announcement of his comeback. But that will be the biggest storyline in the bodybuilding world. Next up, we have 1 week out physique update of Tim Budisham. So he has now announced that Tampa Pro is gonna be his last show of the season. So props to him for staying on track for the 6th show of the season and still managing to improve from one show to the next. So if he wins Tampa, he will certainly do the Olympia, because Tim has been competing since 2017 as a pro. And all that has been to step on the Olympia stage, to step on the biggest bodybuilding stage in the world. So if he gets the chance to step on the Olympia stage, he will not miss that opportunity in any scenario. But I have to say he will be needing a miracle here to win Tampa Pro. Because this lineup, with Moh Foda, John and Rosa, Vlad, and some other guys as well, this is gonna be a very tough show for him. So Tim has been the grainiest, the hottest, and the most conditioned guy in a number of shows now, especially at Chicago and Vancouver Pro. But the judges want more from Tim. But I'm afraid that is something that Tim won't be able to achieve in just a few weeks' time. Plus the thing is, he's battling those guys who all have far superior shapes than him. They all have better aesthetics, better flow than Tim. And that is what's hindering him. That is what's holding him back. So the only way Tim wins in Tampa is that if some of these top guys they miss their mark on the show day. But so far, 2024 has been the best year for Tim. And not just in terms of placings, but the way he was able to make improvements in his overall physique. Big announcement coming from Fabioni Sylvian, who is already qualified for this year's Mr Olympia in Classic Physique category. And he will be making his Olympia debut in October. So Fabioni just announced and is going to compete at this upcoming Tampa Pro, hoping to get another win before the big dance. So he seems to be in a much better condition right now than what he looked like going into Charlotte Cup. So he has deeper lines, less body fat, and overall more pop to his muscles. So Tampa Pro is going to be a competition where Fabian is going to be truly tested, because Gabriel, the athlete from Brazil, who is a 3 times Olympian, is also doing Tampa Pro. And he has also made tons of improvements, especially in his back. Plus, we all know he is always in a superb shape. So there was a former Olympian at Charlotte Cup as well, Abner Logan, and Fabioni was able to beat him and get his Olympia ticket. But he wasn't at his best at that show. So I am really excited to see how Fabioni does at his first ever Miss Olympia, because that has been a long time coming. Plus his battle with Logan Franklin, that is going to be something to really watch out for, because both these guys have been going at each other for quite some years now. Well, let's first see how he does at Tampa Pro. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.